Welcome to Infofeed. Imagine scrolling online and seeing claims about a shocking festival in Nigeria. Would you believe it? You hear the rhythmic thumping of traditional drums and the high-pitched whistles of a festival in full swing. On the surface, it looks like any other Nigerian cultural celebration. Colors, energy, and a deep sense of heritage. But as the camera pans to the faces of young women darting through crowds with visible fear in their eyes, the music begins to feel discordant. This isn't just a party. For many, it has become a gauntlet. We are exploring the disturbing reality of what has been informally dubbed the Rape Festival, a modern distortion of the Aghwoghwo festival, and the profound questions it raises about the safety of women in 21st century Nigeria. This month, the world of Nigerian social media was truly shaken. Viral videos began circulating showing women and girls in Ozoro being openly chased, harassed, and physically assaulted by groups of young men, all under the pretense of cultural tradition. ActionAid Nigeria was quick to speak out, issuing a strong condemnation and calling the situation a grave failure to guarantee safety. Consequently, the governor of Delta State, Sheriff Oborevwori, is facing significant pressure to move past traditional apologies and toward actual criminal prosecution. The most pressing story today isn't really the festival itself, it's the sobering realization that even in 2026, a woman's body can still be treated as a public playground in the name of tradition. The Aghwoghwo festival was originally conceived as a celebration of bravery and the transition into adulthood. It was a time of communal bonding, not communal trauma. In many rural Delta communities, boys are raised with a warrior ethos. However, without proper mentorship, this bravery is often misdirected toward the domination of the vulnerable. How did we get here? Elders admit that the rules of the festival, which once emphasized symbolic play, have been hijacked by a generation emboldened by drugs and a lack of accountability. High unemployment in the Niger Delta has created a youth bulge, with too much time and a desperate need to exert power. The festival provides a low-consequence outlet for this frustration. When a festival becomes a rape festival, the social fabric tears. Families now keep their daughters indoors, effectively creating a self-imposed lockdown for half the population. While the VAPP Act was passed in 2015 to stop this, enforcement in Delta State has remained sluggish for a decade, allowing the scuffle to evolve into assault. The cause is a lack of security. The reason is a deep-seated patriarchal belief that tradition grants a temporary license to touch without consent. Perpetrators often argue, this is how our fathers did it. But historians point out that the ancestors never used smartphones to film and shame their victims. The government's effort has mostly been verbal warnings. The consequence is a repeat cycle, where every year the violence gets bolder. Rights groups estimate that 1 in 3 women in these regions experience some form of harassment during festival seasons. Yet, reporting rates remain below 5% due to stigma. Contrast this with the Arigidi festival or Ozoro, where culture is celebrated with strict codes of conduct. Why does Ozoro struggle where others succeed? Psychologists explain that these girls aren't just scared, they are being conditioned to view their community as a predatory space, leading to long-term anxiety and PTSD. When festivals occur, female students often miss school to avoid the gauntlet, creating a direct link between cultural violence and the gender education gap. Governor Oborevwori's leadership is being tested. Is the state's duty to the shrine or to the citizen? Despite the law, many local police officers view these assaults as domestic matters or community play, refusing to file formal charges. In 2026, the smartphone is the new witness. The culture of silence is being broken by 4K video evidence that can't be ignored by the Ministry of Justice. Investors and tourists avoid regions where rape festival is a trending hashtag. The cultural heritage is being devalued by the very people claiming to protect it. Future improvement must include festival policing, specialized units trained to distinguish between cultural ritual and criminal assault. The OVA, or king of Ozoro, holds the key. If the palace doesn't ban the violence, the law eventually will, at the cost of the festival's survival. Imagine a 2030 where Aghwoghwo returns to its roots, a celebration of strength where the ultimate sign of a man's bravery is his ability to protect the dignity of his sisters. It makes you think, doesn't it? We live in a world where we can beam 5G internet to the remotest village in Delta State, but we can't seem to beam the concept of consent into the minds of its celebrants. Tradition is the soul of a people, but when that tradition begins to consume its own children, it isn't culture anymore. It's a crime scene. Nigeria cannot claim to be giant of Africa while its daughters are being chased through the streets like prey. The rape festival isn't an indictment of the Orbo or Ozoro people. It's an indictment of a justice system that has allowed the word culture to be used as a shield for cowards. The drums will beat again next year. The question is, will they be beating for a celebration, or will they be drowning out the screams once more? That's a question we must ask. Facts inform, but stories transform.